And we're back, still talking about E3. Maniac with GameAccess.net. This is my cohort, Discreator117. Nice to see you back.
You too.
He's here basically to moderate, make sure I stay on track about what we're talking about. So, what is it you want me to talk about right now? What is it that I saw that you want me to talk about?
Let's hear some of the new game releases that are going to be coming out at the end of the year in 2011.
Okay, the games that I got to see that are going to be coming out in 2011 are quite plentiful, because this is going to be a big year, but I'll try to get through them as much as I can as quickly as possible. First game I got to see demoed was The Darkness 2. That is coming out in October of this year. I got to see a pretty interesting segment of the game. It was different. I was not super impressed by the presentation level. It just felt like we were getting to see a level itself of the game. There was like no major storyline. Like what they did a previous demo that sounded like it was a lot more fun because they were kind of telling two stories at once during the demo. This demo was pretty straightforward. The guy went into a carnival. You saw he was being, he was following the spirit of his girlfriend who died in the first game. So she's kind of like some kind of beacon or some kind of like gameplay guide or something. You got to see that how you upgrade powers. Basically find these little spots that have some kind of psychic energy to them, and then you can upgrade your powers through that, and you get powers by doing spectacular kills, and they're changing it up. Originally the way the game worked was you basically got your powers based upon storyline progression, and you would basically upgrade them by eating the hearts of your enemies, and because there's only a fixed amount of enemies in the game, your points would, your amount of hearts, as long as you kept eating them, would basically stay the same way, and there wouldn't be too much difference in like a fully leveled guy and a not so leveled guy. At least I don't think there was. I don't remember that it being that way. I think, in fact, for all I know, that the hearts could have just been an achievement thing. But in this game, basically how you kill, the way you kill, if you eat the hearts, that basically makes the darkness more powerful in the storyline, and it allows you to level up your power. So you can do things like a black hole, insta-kill everything, area of attack kind of thing, and that sort of thing. It took place in a carnival, which kind of gave me flashbacks to Splatterhouse, the last year's Splatterhouse. Visually, it looked interesting. It definitely showed that you're fighting more than just mafioso. You're definitely fighting cult members and stuff like that have better abilities, that are more of a challenge. They would not tell me about multiplayer. I asked, is there going to be multiplayer? The first game famously had multiplayer. It was terrible because the netcode was bad and unplayable. And even with the most recent patches, it's still pretty much unplayable. But it's there. They wouldn't tell me. Honestly, if they wouldn't tell me, my guess is that they're probably not going to do it. It would make sense if they didn't, because the first games were multiplayer, while people still play it, was pretty terrible based upon the netcode. But the developers that are making The Darkness 2 are not the same developers who made The Darkness 1, but they are a famous multiplayer development house. So it might have, I don't know. But based on what he said, no comment. It could be saying that they're going to have it. I don't know. It's kind of late for them to announce it now. If they wanted to, the game's coming out in October. If they're going to have multiplayer, they would have announced it by now, I think. So that's just my 2 cents. Alright, so that was the first game I got to see demoed, The Darkness 2. And that's coming to multi-platform PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. Another game I got to see right after that was I got to see Batman Arkham City. That looked like it was a lot of fun. Definitely felt like Grand Theft Arkham, if you will, or Batman Theft Auto, in that you basically can go through Gotham City, the Arkham City kind of thing. But it's very run down, looked fantastic. You will be able to navigate by gliding, but the cool thing is that you'll be able to redirect momentum. If you fall, while you're falling, you can use that as a thrust to go forward. I don't think laws of gravity permit gravity redirection on that kind of scale, especially given the fact of how big Batman's glide wings are. I don't think that would really work, because you could also use the grapple gun to thrust yourself forward further. Like you could, while you're gliding, fire a grapple gun at some kind of building or a peak or mountaintop or something like that, pull yourself forward some, and that would give you a boost of speed. So it is flying, yes. Well, it's gliding, but it's flying in the same way that Superman can fly. but I don't think it would work in reality. I don't think if you had a glide cape like that, that would actually work. I honestly don't. I think laws of physics would work like that, but there'd be so much energy lost in the fall, and you'd need really big wings anyway. Yeah. I don't think it would, and plus I don't think you could redirect momentum by flying and grappling. I don't think that would give you as much of a speed. I don't think it would work. But what I got to see demoed in the game itself, I have posted up a video on my site of an Arkham demo, but that was not what I saw. What I saw was completely different, and there were shades of it in the video demo. I got to see Catwoman playable and how basically that works. Basically, you can go on a rooftop and you can see some little kitty cats and stuff like that on the rooftop, and by pushing a button, that switches the game over from Batman's story to Catwoman's story, and she becomes completely playable. She doesn't handle like Batman does. She climbs up, she climbs. She doesn't have, she has the whip, but she basically to kind of climb, help her climb and to fight with. But for the most part, she doesn't fly. She can't fly. Yeah. She can't do something Batman can't do, which is cling on ceilings. Because I guess her cat claws or cat paws or something like that, which I have been told cats can do. Cats, I have been told. My good Batman friend, when the reason why I saw this game is because I was working with my friend friends at Bat in the Sun, and I was helping them out while I was over in California. And when I told them about that, they told me, yeah, that does make sense. Catwoman that is the way she works. In fact, cats can climb up on with their paws. They can climb up on walls and stuff like that. It sounds kind of cute. So it's totally plausible. I don't know if they can climb on ceilings, but I can imagine that if Catwoman had claws like that, she'd be able to climb on ceilings. So you can use that. It's very much a stealthy kind of gameplay with her. You can do stealth segments. You can fight. I don't think you can fight as much as Batman can fight. You fight as many at once as Batman can fight, but basically the stealth is kind of the key with her, at least in the level that I saw. I did also get to see a different segment where the Batman was basically confronted by the Penguin. So the Penguin is going to be in the game itself. I thought I recognized the Penguin's voice actor, but I think it's a famous guy, but I can't remember how the voice sounded anymore, and therefore I can't put a name to the voice. If I heard it again, I'd probably be able to do it, but they haven't shown any promo at all since E3 that, yeah, Penguin's in the game. Nobody's talked about that. The segment that I saw was Batman coming into basically the Penguin's domain where he's recruiting bad guys, for lackeys, I guess you would say, because Penguin had certain people kidnapped hostage, particularly somebody that was censored in the demo. We don't know who he was really after, although he did have some cops that Batman was also interested in, and they didn't censor that. And Batman had to fight like 20, 30 guys at once, which is kind of a bigger fight than what was normally in the first Batman Arkham Asylum game. He only fought like, 10 guys at once. Here he was fighting a huge mob. And it showed that he could get the combo system working a heck of a lot easier than the combo system in the first game, because Batman liked punching nothing over punching something in the first game, and that always was frustrating. That would break a combo, and it would just be tough to get a heavy string combo in the first game. And so that's what I saw of Arkham City. I didn't get a chance to play it because I just didn't have time, but the demo that I saw was pretty interesting. Other stuff I saw, of course, that you were interested in me seeing, I got to see Skyrim. So, unfortunately, it didn't seem like anything more than Oblivion. It looked like it played like Oblivion did.
I know I told you this already, but for those people who don't know, when Oblivion first came out, right about a few months before the game was supposed to be released, the servers crashed. They basically lost almost everything and had to start from scratch. That's why Oblivion got so glitchy. So I was thinking that Skyrim was probably just going to be what Oblivion should have been.
It definitely felt more fantastic than Oblivion did, at least based upon what I saw. Oblivion kind of seemed kind of grounded in a fantasy reality, like there was nothing too crazy in it. Creatures, of course, but like I didn't remember any dragons or anything.
No, dragons were never in any Elder Scrolls game.
Well, there are dragons in Skyrim, and I can tell you that right now. In fact, it seems like the whole game revolves around dragons. Yeah. History of dragons. You do fight dragons in the game itself.
You're supposed to be. You have dragon blood. People who can only kill dragons, and you're the only one left.
Yeah, that's what it's. And then killing dragons will allow you to level up. It has an interesting interface for a level up system based upon constellations and stuff like that. That was visually interesting, but basically it was like a menu system. You make your menus interesting. it had weapons, axes, swords, two-handed swords, shields, pretty basic stuff nowadays. I'm sure D&D players would freaking love it. I'm absolutely certain of that. The Spoony one would go completely gaga over it because he's like a complete D&D fan. So that kind of thing. You know, there are dungeons, there are dragons, there are towers, there's stuff like that. There are towns. It's pretty open world. You'll be able to climb up giant mountains. You'll be able to go anywhere. There were performance slowdowns, but that's to be expected. Occasional, by that I mean occasional graphic hitches, nothing really severe. So Skyrim actually did have a pretty good presentation, but the problem is that the specifics were so general, and that I can't remember it very well. I can't remember specifically what happened. I know you went through a town, and it was told that you can interfere with the way that the town functions based upon if you can destroy some. It was a logging town, so if you destroyed some of the logs, that would destroy the town's economy. If you wanted to be a nasty guy, you climbed up a mountain to see a temple. They fought a dragon. Then they wrapped it up with a massive multi-dragon battle. You will be able to chain up attacks, magic attacks. You will have magic. You'll be able to chain up magic attacks with weapons and stuff like that. You can cast spells to help your stats out. Pretty basic stuff. You know, it's basically like I would say it's an improved. It definitely handled and reminded me a lot of Oblivion. It felt the same kind of gameplay as Oblivion did, at least based upon the way that the game was set up. But it's a different kind of game. It's more fantastic in that kind of respect. I got to play Rage, and I got to play that. I was surprised that the game was delayed. It was supposed to come out in August. It's supposed to come out next month. It's now coming out in October. Once again, another game coming out in October. The game I played felt finished. It definitely felt like it was being run at 60 frames a second. Even the people who play the PlayStation 3 version. I was playing the Xbox version. I don't remember. They played identical. Yeah. And which is the best kind of, I guess you could say, well, yeah, pick your platform, man. They played identical, best I could tell. They had the Xbox and the PlayStation versions right next to each other, but I didn't notice a difference at all. Which is a good thing, I guess, for users of both consoles. I would get the PC version, but that's just me. And I have to wait for my PC to get fixed before playing that. The game felt finished, though. It really did. I got to basically do what you can do in the iPhone version, which is going through all these different areas and battle all these guys and these cartoonish things. That's a part of the game. You'll be able to do that. It's not on rails, though. Like in the iPhone version, it's on rails. This was not on rails. I got to do some driving segments. It reminded me a lot of Fallout. A lot of people are going to draw Fallout comparisons. It definitely was a lot more fighting oriented than Fallout games were. I mean, it's more of a shooter. It's more like people are also probably going to make the comparison to what's that game? Borderlands. People are going to make a Borderlands comparison, certainly based upon the fact that you can drive cars in the game. But it definitely felt more. It felt less RPG than Borderlands did. Borderlands felt very RPG in the fact of how you had to constantly level up your weapons and how you constantly had to level up your guys. I didn't see any of this. It seemed more streamlined than that. And I appreciate that. That was like the one thing about Borderlands that I didn't like, was that the stats of the weapons were kind of misleading. And I could never, sometimes I'd give away a good weapon just to level up with a weapon I thought was better and just actually was worse. I had a hard problem understanding statistics and stuff like that for that kind of thing, and leveling up my own guys. Sometimes I might even throw out something that I thought that was actually useful, and I couldn't tell because I couldn't follow the stat system very well. So that was my complaint about Borderlands. I like the open world aspect about it, of course, although it did feel kind of confining in some respects. You can only go to certain spots at certain times. So basically, Rage feels like an improved, certainly better than I liked it a lot better than Borderlands did. But it did definitely feel like the same way. People are going to draw those kind of comparisons. But taking into account that Rage has been in development since before those games were released. Well, actually, no, maybe not Fallout, but Fallout had a serious pedigree before Rage came out. But certainly before there was a development before the most recent Fallout games came out. It was in development certainly before Borderlands came out. So that's what I got to see on that first day.